Hello from Reykjavik. In round 9 my opponent was Icelandic player Throstur Thorhallsson. I had white pieces and I really wanted to use them this time, unlike in my previous white games, so I pushed d4 in this position and my opponent opted for knight c6 here. I played bishop g5, e6, queen d2, a6. I didn't really know what to expect. He doesn't play so much lately, so I played my normal lines, f4. He pushed b5, I took on f6, g takes, king b1. He played queen b6 and I played the knight ce2. This move might look a bit strange, but knight is good here, protecting d4 knight, and also sometimes it can go to g3 and h5, creating problems on black's king side. So my opponent played the long castle here, the move that I was not familiar with. I remember that maybe I played this position in my game with international master Zlatic from Novi Sad, but I was not really sure. I spent some time thinking how to do, where to put my pieces, and finally I decided to just go for normal development with g3 and bishop g2. He played king b8, bishop g2, and now I was not sure. I thought maybe it would be possible to go knight a5. He didn't play this move. He played bishop e7, which I thought was not that great, but I thought about knight a5 a little. He wants maybe to provoke b3. So if I don't play b3, this knight comes to c4, then maybe there are tactical tricks, sometimes with e5 and knight e3. Okay, probably it's not very dangerous for me, but well, I thought this move would be good for him. He played bishop e7. I was not sure if he should develop this bishop. Sometimes it can stay on f8, but okay, it's probably a normal move as well. And now I was thinking about pushing f5 for a while, and I thought he should take on d4. I didn't see better reaction for him, and then push e5, because in this position I want to take on e6 and play bishop h3, and it will be really difficult for him to protect this pawn. So he should push e5. I didn't want to go to b3 with my knight, so I thought knight e2 would be normal move. I want to play knight c3 and knight d5, and now I thought he would be able to choose between b4 and d5. b4, okay, he's limiting my knight, I get some squares, but my bishop is misplaced now. It would be better to have this bishop on f1 probably. But he can also maybe push d5, and now if I take this pawn with the queen, he can play bishop e6, I thought, and I lose my queen. If I take with the pawn, then he can just take on f5, his bishop will be okay on g6, and he's blocking my d pawn. He will have active play here, so I thought position wouldn't be clear. So I thought knight c3 would be the most normal move. Then he should push d4. After knight d5, he should play queen c5, I thought. And I was not sure about this position. Okay, I thought I had advantage, but how big an advantage I was not sure. So I played here rook hf1, one more useful move, and then I wanted to make f5 idea on the next move. I gave him chance again to play knight a5, but I somehow understood that he wasn't even thinking about this move. Probably he was not looking at that side of the board, so I thought probably he wouldn't push that pawn, and really probably he wouldn't play knight a5, and really he didn't. He played rook c8, and now I thought it wouldn't be so great to push f5, because now this reaction is good. He should take and push e5, and after knight e2 he should play b4. And now my knight cannot get to d5, my bishop is on g2, and it cannot even come to f1 so quickly. So I thought this would be okay for black. So I decided to first take on c6. Now I was expecting him to take with the bishop, and then I push f5. Now I want to take on e6, knight f4, bishop h3, so black probably has to push e5. Then I go knight c3, and now I want to jump knight d5, so I thought black would go queen c5 to stop this move, and then I can go queen e2. Okay, now if I jump, once I take with the pawn, this position is nothing special for me. it's not so great. So I was planning here to go queen e2, and now I want to jump knight d5 and then take with the rook. If he pushes b4, I can jump to d5, and if he goes bishop b5, I just move my queen to d2, and I let him take this exchange. After he does this, probably he is lost. So I remember something similar in my game with Zlatic had happened, but I was not sure if it was like this, really. Okay, in any case, Throstur decided to take with the rook, which I understood was also interesting, but only later. At first I thought he would really take with the bishop. And now I decided to protect my pawn on c2 with rook c1, and just to try to attack this pawn on e6. I didn't see some other plan. If I go with my knight to d4, I thought this knight should go to f4. Now this knight cannot come back to d5 anytime soon. I thought maybe he would go rook c4 to try to create some weakness if I play b3. And I didn't really see how to continue here. He will double rooks and maybe his position is more or less okay. So I pushed f5, and I expected him to double rooks. Then I was first thinking about taking on e6. I thought I had time for this. He should probably take like this, and now if I would go rook c1 without taking even, but I calculated line like this. He goes rook c4 and I go bishop h3, trying to get some pressure there, but I saw move f5 for him, and it's not so easy now to do something. If I take, he pushes e5, and then he will take on c2, and his queen will be dangerous, I thought. So I just wanted to play rook d to c1, and he played rook c5. It was a small surprise. He wants to put his rook on e5 and protect this e6 pawn like that. So now I jumped knight f4. This is a very nice square for the knight, and I like this square. And he doubled his rooks, and I just played rook c1. So I thought now my king side is safe, and I can continue to try creating some problems for him. For him now it's not very easy to make a move. His pieces are well placed and he cannot improve something. So he pushed b4. Okay, he wants maybe to push a5, a4 and then something, or he wants to give his rook some more space, because after some bishop h3 he will go rook e5, then I jump knight d3, then his rook doesn't have so many squares. And here I was again thinking about different options. I had two ideas. One was to make his rook go to e5 by playing bishop h3, or I could start with rook fe1 and then bishop h3, and the other idea was to play knight d3, and after he goes rook c4, I thought then to try to attack his pawns with my queen. But I was somehow afraid to go there with my queen, and I thought if I do it like this without exchanging on e6, he might even push e5, and once I take this pawn, he can just play bishop e8, of course if he has nothing more direct. And then, okay, I need too much time now to push my pawns, and maybe he will have some play, also a5, a4, and some threats. His pieces are really strong. And I also thought about taking on e6 and then going to h6, but I also saw some options for him, so I decided not to go there with my queen. And I didn't like his rooks making so much pressure, so I decided to play bishop h3 and attack his e6 pawn, and to make his rook go to e5. Now if I go back with bishop, it's repetition, so I decided to go rook fe1 to protect my central pawn this way. And now I want to go knight d3 maybe, and make his rook go to some not so great square like b5. So he played rook c4 here, using this moment to attack my central pawn, And I thought somehow that this move wouldn't be great, because I thought I would be able to take and then just take this pawn, for example. Okay, I will show knight takes c6. And at first I was thinking he can take like this, and then I go queen d5 and I attack both of his rooks. So this is bad for him. And well, I didn't see here move rook d4, probably it's also good. But I saw that he would be able just to take with a rook, and then my position is worse. I looked at a bit more at queen d5, but he goes rook c5. If I go queen b3, he can just play rook to e5, and okay, maybe it's still playable, but his position is better. So I cannot do this trick, and now, well, he's really active, and I decided to go back with my bishop to g2 and protect this pawn, and maybe play knight d3 soon, try to kick this rook to some bad square. But sorry, I didn't exchange, I played immediately. Of course, there is no reason to exchange, because I wait with this until the last possible moment, because I can always create some extra problems for black. Maybe it gives me more possibilities. And now I was expecting queen d4, and I was not so happy about the position, because I thought it was good for black to exchange queens, and here I was considering knight d3, queen d4, rook cd1, queen e2, and the only way not to exchange queens was something like this. But then I was afraid that maybe he would take the pawn on f5. And okay, I didn't have really time to calculate so well this position. But he didn't play that move. He went rook a5. Strange move, a little. And I was at first thinking about some other things. I'm not sure what exactly. Maybe bishop f1 or knight d3. But then I saw rook e3 was a really good move. My rook goes to b3 and it will be great there. Then I can push a3 and create some problems for him. And now already I was feeling that my position was getting really good. He played bishop f8. This bishop might go to h6. And I just continued with my idea. Rook b3. I calculated if he goes to h6, I can play a3. I thought now I just want to win this pawn on b4. And if he pushes e5, I can always jump to d5. He takes d2, I take b6, and everything is hanging, so this position should be winning for me. So he didn't play bishop h6. Here he played king a7, trying to move his king from this dangerous position, and I just pushed a3, and I saw I was probably winning a pawn. I was really happy at this moment, and I saw d5 was possible, but I thought I would just take first on e6, then on d5, and it should be a really great position. He played first rook d4, and now I was thinking between queen e1 and knight d3, and I thought knight d3 was quite okay. I'm bringing my knight closer to this b4 pawn, attacking one more time, and I really didn't see what he would do now. And now he pushed d5. It was really now some time trouble. Already we had 6 minutes each for the rest of the game. I wish I had more time here to understand what was going on. So generally, if I take this pawn, he wants to play rook to b5, and if I push c3 and protect, he wants to play rook c4, I thought. And now he's somehow protecting everything. He's okay. I'm pawn up, and my position is really good, but somehow not easy to activate my pieces and finish the job, I thought. Okay, but anyway, I was ready to take on e6 here. I thought for him it wouldn't be great to take on e4. I take on d7, he can take on d3, and I can take on b4 here. I can even take on b4 on the previous move, and then I will also take d3, and it should be winning. So after I took, he must take like this. And then I took also the pawn on d5, just to exchange and open my pieces, maybe. And he recaptured. No, he didn't. I was expecting this, to take control over c4 square, but he actually pushed e5, and I was quite happy about this because I thought I have one extra pawn there. Then I took also this pawn, and he played rook to b5. And at this point I had really little time, okay, 2-3 minutes, and I thought I calculated the forced win, and I pushed c4. Again, c3 was possible, but then he goes rook c4, and well, I didn't see how to improve this position very quickly. So I pushed c4, it looked like a strong move. I'm attacking his rook, and I didn't see what he would do here. I thought he would take on b4. This is what I thought. And then I take with my rook, he takes, and now I have some choice, but okay, I was probably going to take like this. He takes here, and now I have two moves here. Okay, I'm one pawn up. I can either exchange, then push c5. Then somehow my pawns are really going fast, I thought. He can go king a7, then I can push d6, and now I want to push also c6. And okay, but still maybe he can fight here, but it looked bad for him. And the other option was queen e7. I would think about these things later. Now this looks much better. And during the game also I was hoping it would be good, and it really is good, because I don't see what he's going to do. He's f6, d7. So probably this was good calculation. But he surprised me with rook a5. And now I had very little time, and well, I was sure position was winning. I'm 2 pawns up, but now this bishop can come to f5, and it can get quite annoying. So I played queen f2, and I thought this move was okay. And I also thought my idea was to take on e5 this pawn, and then his bishop on f8. And he just moved his rook to a4, which was okay. And now I understood it was not possible to take this pawn and then play this because of queen g6 check, and now I even lose. So I had 1 minute left after this position, so I started panicking, and I played rook f1. I wanted now to take on f6, and I saw if he takes rook c4, I can exchange queens and then take on f6 with check, and then take his bishop. This is all I could see. I just had to play some move, because rook f1 I already had maybe seconds on my clock, literally seconds. And he just played bishop e7. Nice, good move to protect this pawn on f6. Well, what to do now? He wants to go bishop e8, bishop g6. I just had a little time and decided to push c5. He activated his queen to b5, and now I pushed c6. I pushed d6. I wish I pushed c6, but I didn't. I thought if I push c6 he would go bishop e8, and now I cannot push d6 anymore. I can push c7, but somehow this was not very interesting to me in this moment, to push this pawn to 7th rank, and his rook is pinned, and I want to promote this pawn, and it should be just winning. But okay, in this moment this was not very interesting. I wanted to push both of them, so I started with d6, and he played bishop e6. Well, who knows what was going on. I'm not sure what was going on at all. He played bishop e6. Now again, I probably have many options, but I just saw my rook was hanging. I was afraid to take here, because I thought bishop takes b3, and I don't have time to queen, I will get mated. So I moved my rook to c3, and he played check on a2. And I was thinking now where to go, c2 or c1. If I go to c2, there was something I was worried about. And I think this is him taking on b4. But I think I forgot this was protected, so I can just take this. I simply forgot this was protected. I would definitely go with my king to c2. And I think I would win the game in this case very easily. But I just thought b4 was hanging, so I played king c1 on my seconds, and he played bishop f7. Also he had seconds on his clock. Now he wants... Did this really happen? King c1, bishop f7, yes, and I don't know why I didn't take this pawn, this bishop now. No, was it like this? No, sorry, something is wrong here. I played d6. He took on d3. Yes, that's correct. I forgot this move. He took on d3, and after I pushed c6, he played rook back to d4. And for some reason, crazy reason, that I cannot understand now. No, it was not like this either. I played d6, he played bishop e6. Okay, now I remember. Now I played rook c3, and now he took on d3, and now I played c6 check. And he went back with his rook to d4, and I took the bishop on e7, and he checked on a2, and I played king c1. Yes. Now of course I didn't want to play king c2, because when he takes on b4, he wants to take also on b2. Well, again, maybe I can just go king c1, so maybe this was even very good. But I played king c1, and he played bishop f7. Well, I desperately needed time. I had 2 more moves to make, and I made a... Okay, on my last seconds, I made the wrong move here. I played rook a3, which is a terrible mistake. And he just played bishop g6. Now there are too many threats to my king. I played queen e3, and to cover on c3 if necessary, and to still keep his rook under the pin. And he just, last move of time trouble, he took on a3. And unfortunately for me, now the time trouble is over and the position is lost. Well, I can really not show you too much about these last 10 or 15 moves, what I was thinking. I was just playing very fast and not seeing much. So here now I got time, and I understood if I take with pawn, he will check. I go to b2, he checks one more time, I go to a1, and he can just take my bishop on g2, and my rook is under attack, and he wants to take c6, and okay, my only try was this move, but then he can play just bishop f7, and I'm getting checkmated on a2. So I decided to take with the queen, but he played queen e2, and now there is no way to avoid checkmate. I decided to finish like this. He took my queen and played queen c2. Okay, it was a terrible loss, really terrible, and I really feel bad. But okay, let's try to see what computer will say. So here I played rook f1, rook c8. Okay, position is better for me. I know this structure, and I know I have some advantage. So I took on c6, he took with the rook, which was interesting. Okay, I played f5, he doubles the rooks. Okay, I have advantage now. How big it is, it's... Ah no, he didn't double the rooks, he played rook c5. And I went knight f4. I like this play, and rook c1 I like as well. And he pushed b4, which was okay. And I played bishop h3, which I think also was good to make his rook go away from the c file. Then I just played rook e1, rook c4 was normal, and bishop g2. So until this moment we have some normal game. I'm having advantage, but he's also fighting. And now he went wrong. But okay, his position is not really pleasant. Okay, he played rook a5. I think it's not so great idea. Okay, maybe he still has time to recover from this, but he continued with bishop f8, rook b3. Actually, machine says his moves are normal, just the position is worse. Okay, the machine suggests maybe this. In this case I was just planning to take the pawn on e6 and take one more time, and here to take with my a pawn. Then my knight will be very strong. I have also strong bishop, so there is no doubt I have... my king is pretty safe. There is no doubt I have advantage here. So he played here king a7. And I pushed a3. Okay, already position is... d5 was maybe better to play immediately. But okay, his position is difficult in any case. So rook d4, now it should already be winning for me, +2. Not easy to see these numbers. Okay, now it's a little bit less. Okay, knight d3, maybe the best move. So everything's okay until now. The only problem is I'm losing too much time. So he pushes d5, and now f takes e6 is okay. a b4, e d5 also good. There is not too much difference, and it's normal, I think, to give a bit more space to my bishop. So okay, I will continue with this move, e5. Now I took on b4, which is good. 30 moves, okay, everything fine. Rook b5. Here I'm not sure, maybe I can play more carefully because I didn't have so much time. But according to machine, it's okay. So already 30 moves, I'm playing really good game. And he goes back to a5. Queen f2, best move, although I had little time. I found this move too. And he goes rook a4, so I have position +5, and it's pity that I only have 1 minute on my clock. And I even played the next move correctly. No, I played rook f1 here. So here it was good to play c5. Of course, my rook is on c1, everything is good. And his pawn on e5 is problematic, so queen b5. Can I just take this pawn, for example? I'm just curious. Takes, I take on f8. Okay, still he will take on b4, and I can push d6. He pushes e4 to close my bishop. Okay, still some fight. There is no easy winning in 2 moves or something, but okay, let's see. c5, he plays queen b5, and I should play c6. Yes, just with my rook on c1 I should have pushed this pawn to c8. It was very nice and natural. Now he cannot let me push my pawn to c8. He has to protect this, so he has to go bishop c8. And now I can take on e5. It's a nice looking move. He must take. And I cannot take on f8. My queen can return to f2 with check. There can be exchange on c5, so my position is completely winning. I needed so little to finish this game, so little. Just if I had 5 minutes here, the job would be finished. But I played rook f1. This move is terrible. I'm putting rook where my bishop should maybe come. He played bishop e7. Okay, so now I pushed d6. Wrong push maybe. c6 can be better. So already not so clear, but there is no point in annotating very carefully because the main factor here was time. He played bishop e6. Now queen f3 was interesting, but it's also very difficult to see with 1 minute on clock. So I played normal move rook c3, and probably this is also good. Then he took on d3. I pushed c6, which was okay. He returned to d4, and I took on e7, and he checked on a2. And now I had, okay, king c1 seems to be okay. He played bishop f7. Of course, position is very unclear, and here I remember I was analyzing this move, bishop e4, but I was afraid about some lines like this. Then he can sacrifice, or he can even play immediately bishop g6. Yes, this is what I was afraid of. I didn't see what to do here, and probably I'm lost. So bishop e4 is wrong, and here I had only winning move, and it's b3, and it's totally winning. I just need to make this move and I win the game. I make other move and I lose the game, so it's terrible, really. Terrible feelings. His rook is under pin. I want to play c7, c8. It's only important that he doesn't have some incredible threats around my king, and it seems that here he doesn't. So he might take queen b4, and then I should go queen b2. And somehow my pieces protect everything. Not easy to see with some seconds on the clock. So I wanted to, okay, this rook is coming to a1 to checkmate me, so I played some other move with very little time on my clock, and he played bishop g6, very correct. And now my position is lost. I played like this. Queen c4 was even better. Of course, I'm losing immediately my queen. But this was not so bad too. I could take with the pawn, but as I said, after this I can only resign the game and nothing else. So I prefer to have a beautiful checkmate at least. Okay, it's really terrible. I don't know what to say. I mean, I played good game for the first 31 moves. Excellent game. But after this, little time, and I couldn't find some simple wins, and I lost the game. And this cost me 10 rating points.